Good morning, beautiful people. What's up, what's up, what's up? So, I'm gonna be like restricting my lives to about maybe a couple times a week. I don't feel like I need to go every day because, yes, I can run off the mouth like that. I could talk every day, but I feel like it would kind of be unnecessary, be like overkill. And I need y'all to like kind of recoup from the last live session, and I need time to get stuff done around the house and everything like that. So I need time to clean and be a mom and go grocery shopping and stuff like that. So that's what I did yesterday. And speaking of yesterday, so I went to go pay bills and go grocery shopping, and two separate occasions yesterday from a European and a Japanese woman commented on how much they love my hair and how awesome it was. And from the European, it was, I always get that. I expect that. They always love, when our hair is done any type of exotic way. And people like to think exotic solely implies to, mixed race women or, foreign women. But exotic is kind of like what I'm not used to. So anything that I'm not used to is exotic to me. Anything that the European is not used to is exotic to them. So clearly, jumbo box braids, or they're not really jumbo. They're medium-ish, medium-ish box braids are exotic to them. And then the Japanese woman, I'm walking up to the register and putting my stuff down, and her and the woman next to her in like the next register was like, "Oh, sugoi," and I know sugoi means awesome. Then I automatically knew they was talking about my hair. And then she pointed at my head. She's like, "I love your hair," and I don't really remember. She said, "I love your hair," but she was saying something like in broken English mixed with Japanese, talking about I love your hair. But her hair was dyed like gray and purple and all this type of stuff. And I was like, oh no, I love your hair. Da, da, da. And she was like, oh, I heard those type of hairstyles take like 7 hours to do. I was like, man, depends on how big they are, how small they are. She's like, you went to a salon to do it? I was like, no, I did it myself. And she was like, oh, that's so nice, that's so cool. How'd you do it? I was like, just braided them. And then I was like, yeah, it took me about 3 hours. She's like, 3 hours? Well, next time you have to come by and show me how to do it. And I was like, yeah, I got you. She was, saying that she couldn't do it on her hair, and now, I didn't want to discourage her because she had real fine hair. I didn't want to discourage her, but I've seen Japanese women out here, especially. I don't think I've seen any men, but Japanese women out here have had, braids in their hair, like cornrows or a single braid. So it's capable. You're able to do it. And if I do see homegirl next time, I'll let her know, like, yo, I could hook you up. I could hook you up. You just gotta, we'll do like a little trade. She'll show me where she gets the hair from, and that way I can go get some hair for myself, and I'll show her how to hook up her braids. And then maybe she can, help me work on my Japanese. So it'll be like a nice even trade, a nice even trade. So yes, there's a few topics that I kind of wanted to touch on. I've been getting a lot of comments. Peace, Sister Sahar. I've been getting a lot of comments on that video, that Afro Latinos are not black video, and people still don't really seem to get it, of how they're not black. Nugget, are you breaking stuff over there? I swear, I'm not gonna have a tablet in a while. So they're still not getting it, how they are not black, or even still, they're still kind of, they're still, Peace Barrett, they're still like trying to identify with Afro Latino, and they're not really they didn't really kind of quite get what I was saying by "you're not black." They took that and they were just like, "Oh, yeah, I've gotten people say I've been saying I'm not black. I've been saying that I'm Afro Latino, and I don't want nothing to do with black people." Da 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 da. And my whole thing is, you kind of, the point kind of went over their head. Like, yeah, I said you're not black, but that doesn't mean that you're separate from the Asiatic Moors in the Americas. Like, y'all are not separate at all. And then I had people saying, Latinos are not black, da 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 da, and kind of taking it as a different connotation, trying to convince me, which I rather think that they're trying to convince themselves, because you can't convince me that, that we're black or anything, or that the Afro Latinos, and this includes the Haitians and everybody in the Caribbean, everybody who I said in the previous video was conquered by Latin powers, was conquered by Roman powers. Those people are Latinos. So if you want to go to the last video and check what Latinos are and why we get that, you can go do that. I'm not going to go over in depth into it, but once you were conquered by those Roman powers, once you were conquered by those Latin powers, you therefore are called Latino. If you're speaking vulgar Latin, if you're speaking a derivative of vulgar Latin or Latin, you are classified as Latino by definition. Now, whether you want to feel like you're not, or whether you want to feel like you are and the person on that same island is not, because of their skin color or because of who colonized them, then that's on you. That's your opinion and you're entitled to it. But as we know all the time, facts always trump opinions. Facts always trump emotions. It's not that hard, people. If you can look it up in a dictionary, if you can look it up in an encyclopedia, 9 times out of 10, if you read in between the lines, those are facts. So, to expand on that, we are going to go... What are you running over here? Why you always got your sock off? My goodness. So we are going to expand on that, and we already, went through the definition of what black was. They don't know the difference between facts and opinion. They don't. And they hold opinions closer to themselves than fact, which is completely okay, and they're entitled to that. Like I said, everybody's perception defines their reality. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that over the course of these live streams, but everybody's perception defines their reality. And until they change their perception, their reality will stay the same. That's why you have so many people now celebrating so-called Black History Month. Well, whose history are you really celebrating? And are you really celebrating the entire history of your people? Because there are still some people today that don't even know who the Moors are. There are some people today that still don't know that we are the indigenous and aboriginal people of this land and of most lands across this terra plan, right? And the fact that still to this day, a lot of our brothers and sisters love to, kind of, not I wouldn't say coddle, but they've been conditioned so much to believe that the European is responsible for many of the things that they stole from our people. So the European is responsible for, discovering that the world is round. The European is responsible for discovering penicillin. The European is responsible for discovering that you can pee on a stick and tell that you're pregnant. The European is responsible for all of this stuff. And little do they realize that, our people are the ones that gave this knowledge to the European. The European, after a whole course of history, which we talked about before, right? The European slave trade, which also happened during the transatlantic slave trade, which we talked about a couple of videos behind. where you had not only Africans, but you had Europeans, you had Asians, you had all these people who were enslaved and transported throughout the continents, throughout Africa and throughout the Americas. Okay? So during that time was prime time to erase the history of our people. After the Moors were defeated in 1492, and after the colonists came over to the Americas, especially the British colonists who came over to the Americas and started, started setting up shop over here. Not only were they, sending tribute to Morocco and all that stuff, which we know, or which some of us know, but it was during that time where they started building up, the ammo to kind of erase your history from world history. So it is because of that that a lot of us don't know that we are the ones who kind of put in place or set the ball rolling for these Europeans to kind of come in and say, oh no, we discovered this and we did that. Yes, heavy social engineering, which everything is now, right? Everything is pretty much social engineering. Yeah, that's why you need to have both socks on or both socks off, all slipping over there. All right, so boom. So what we're gonna go into is the Naturalization Act of 1790. So the Naturalization Act of 1790. I think it was one of the first. I think it was the first one. You had the 1790, and then you had, I believe, was 1860 was the one after that. But in 1790, and I'm gonna paraphrase right now. The words was it was restricting citizenship to any alien being a free white person. I think free white person. I know the word free white person is in there. So we read that as, okay, so only so-called white people, only the Europeans were the ones who were able to be citizens, right? So it's only Europeans. But when you look at the definition of free white person, and as you read it and you kind of go through the legalese, jargon, you get down to a part in the free white person definition. What are you doing? He always seems to be pooping. Every time that I go live, he poops. So I'm gonna have to change the diaper in a little while. So in the definition of free white person, it lists all these ethnicities or all these nationalities, right? It lists Greek, it lists Jews, it lists Slavs, it lists. He always poops during this time. Not always, but every time that I'm live, because I'll be not live and he won't poop. But anyway, yeah, he definitely pooped. I'm gonna let him finish though. Albanians, Basques, Latin. So when they are listing these people, they list them and say mixed Jews, mixed Latin, mixed Celts, mixed Germans, or not Germans, but mixed basically mixed people, right? And allude to Moors. They say Moors in that definition, and then they say those of North African descent who were in Spain and Portugal. Then it goes on to say that free white people does not mean Caucasian race, does not mean Aryan race, or does not mean Indo-European race. So by the definition of free white people in the law dictionary, free white people, a free white person, does not mean those of the Caucasian race, does not mean those of the Indo-European race and does not mean those of the Aryan race. So when you go back and read the Naturalization Act of 1790, and you reread it now having this definition in mind of free white person, you will then, because you know who free white person is, right? That's us. We're the free white people. We're the free white persons. We are the true white people. And then the alien is the European who came here as immigrants to set up shop on our land. So therefore, this is why you cannot call yourself black. And in the same sense, you should not be calling them white. Because you call them white, you call them free white person, you are then giving them the entitlement to being a citizen of the United States of America Republic. Not the corporation, the land. A citizen of the land. So as some of us know who kind of been deep into these studies, that these Europeans cannot be citizens, true inheritance of the land, because they are not the free white persons. They are the black people, because black, like we went back, means bleached, means pale. That's what black means, right? And as we just seen the definition of free white person, no one of the Caucasian race, no one of the Aryan race, no one of the Indo-European race can be called free white person. So I'm gonna let y'all marinate on that while I go change a stinky diaper and out, because he's offending my nose. Come you. Stinky butt. All right, I have returned. It was not beans this time because we didn't have beans. Well, no, I lied. We had beans two days ago. I made tacos. And I gave them a little. It was a little spicy. The soy rizo tacos were a little spicy, but I didn't give them I didn't wrap in the tortilla. I just put it on top of the rice and beans with the pico, a little bit of pico, and I think that was it for him. Oh, the Brussels sprouts and stuff. But yesterday I made like some fake pad thai, fake lo mein noodles. Peace, Lexi, my love. And that one was a little bit of spicy because there was cayenne pepper in there, and but he was eating it up, and I thought he'd be good, but I was like, this might pose a problem later on down the line, and it definitely posed a problem. But yeah, we got that all set up. We're all good. So where was I? Yes, free white people does not mean Caucasian, does not mean Aryan, does not mean Indo-European. Free white person dilutes to or denotes to us, Moors and Asiatic Moors. However, what they did get right though, because when you look up the Naturalization Act, it says it excluded the black race, right? So there we have that word again, the black race. So again, going into the definitions of word, when it says it excluded the black race, we know now who they're really talking about. They are talking about the Europeans. Those are the Caucasian race. You feeling good now? Those are the Caucasian race. Those are the Aryan race, and so on and so forth. That's who were excluded. And then also says excluded of the Asian race. But they're not talking about the Asiatics who are us. They are talking about the Syrian Asiatics, like in Persia and stuff like that, the Mongolians. Those are the ones who are excluded as yeah, he is. Again, he poops like a grown man. I don't know what I'm gonna do. When he actually starts getting older, he's gonna have to get his own bathroom. So, learning and knowing the definitions of words and knowing the etymology of words can help you kind of navigate through these legalese, and believe you me, there are more house resolutions, more laws and stuff being passed where these terms are being thrown around to where the sleepy Moors don't know who they're talking about when they're saying free white persons, or who they're talking about when they're saying black people. But everybody else knows. Believe you me. Everybody else knows. So, that aside, that was kind of like touching up like not touching up, but like adding another layer onto that Afro-Latinos are not black video. They are not black. Because black again means pale. Black again means bleached skin, and they are not black. We are the white people. We are the free white persons. So we must stop giving that name away to Europeans and then turning around and getting mad when they, when they act like free white persons, when they act like, because again, yes, white equals nobility. Again, when you have, peace, David, when you have, what was I gonna say? So when you have that nobility, when you have that title, you are then entitled to being the citizens of the United States of America Republic, not the corporation, the United States of America Republic, Al-Marak. You are entitled to being citizens there. So them erasing that whole history from you during slavery, because like I said, there is a distinct difference between the slavery that happened here in the Americas and the slavery that happened throughout the world. Yes, slavery is slavery, But at the end of the day, just like the Irish, when they were transported over here as the first slaves, because like I said, the slave trade was not just Africans. It was not. Majority of the slaves who came over here first were Europeans, were European people. So when the Irish came over here as slaves, they did not erase the fact that they were Irish. They did not erase the fact that they were Irish. When we became enslaved, or when we were traded in the slave trade, we were the ones who, because if they did not do this, they would not be able to continue on the path that they have been continuing. This United States corporation would not be in existence if we were allowed to keep our history and remember who we are as the indigenous people of the Americas, and as the, the pretty much rulers during that time, the rulers of the terraplane. Because you had not only the Americas paying tribute to Morocco, but other European states paying tribute and ransoms to Morocco. Yes, there's always tons of good stuff in my life. Sometimes we be messing around, we be BSing, but yeah, I like to drop little nuggets, little gems, Again, it's not me being a teacher, but it's me sharing the knowledge and kind of breaking it down to where people who are not into the knowledge like we are able to receive what we are saying, okay? Making the distinction between white and black, making the distinction between more as it being, who you naturally are versus it being a religion or some type of denomination, okay? Because it's two separate things. And then when we say Islam, like how we say Islam Moors, it's a distinction between the religion or the control system and the way of life, right? The laws that we get. I, self-law, and master, right? Islam. So, it is important for us to be able to break it down, not condescendingly, not over people's heads, to break it down simply to where they'll be able to receive it, and then it'll turn on some light bulbs in their head and be like, all right, well, maybe I should be looking into this. Maybe I should look up the definition of free white person. And the funny thing is, even if you do not have a law dictionary, which I do not have, I have a PDF, which I know is bad. Oh, you're not supposed to have a PDF of a law dictionary. But hey, when law dictionaries are like $800, you got to get it where you can fit in, right? So, I don't know how many of you follow me on Instagram, but I made a meme, I know Sahar seen it, where people, 12 apostles that sits around Allah is you. Yes. So I know Sahar seen the meme that I made about everybody talking about taxation is theft, March through December, but come January, February, they're buying new books with their tax money, their income tax refunds. So that's me, number one, because I'm married and my husband takes care of the finances. So he does the taxes and he's in the military, so they got to do the taxes. It's already coming out. But again, we are kind of especially myself, am transitioning into kind of this Moorish knowledge to where when we step outside, or when I get back to the States, as a matter of fact, because I was told I can do this regardless whether we are in the military or not, and that he's able to do this regardless whether he's in the military or not. So when I get back to the States and I get nationalized and all that stuff, so I'll be good on that income tax fraud. But even before being in the knowledge, I knew that the taxation was theft, that income tax was a fraud, was unconstitutional, and that there's no law anywhere stating that you have to pay an income tax. And I didn't quite understand it until I was shown the definition of income and shown the definition of wages. So again, knowing the words, knowing the yep, go from income back to wages. Exactly. Because as a straw person, you are the same as a corporation. So of course, anything that you get, because income is business, income is commerce. So as a corporation, which is what you are when your whole title, when your whole name is in capital letters, you are a corporation. So of course, everything that you get is going to be income. So you cannot say, oh, I'm not paying my income taxes if you are still classified as a corporation. You have to get out of the corporation, you have to get out of the straw name and revert back to being a natural person before you can say, I am not going to pay my taxes. Because if you do not pay your taxes, if you do not pay your income taxes and you are the straw person, they can come after you. And this is the deception that we have, and especially, I wouldn't say deception, but misinformation, because it's always misinformation where these people go onto YouTube or they go onto different Instagram pages or whatever social media pages, and they see taxation is theft. But no one, I feel the brain wrinkles. No one is breaking it down level by level to people why taxation is theft, what is in income, why you are being taxed in income if you are not dealing in commerce. It's because you are a corporation, you are a straw person, all right? So for you to be able to legally get out of the income tax, you have to revert back to being a natural person. Once you are a natural person, everything that you garner will be wages. Unless you are like investing, unless you have a business, but then again, your business will be taxed, not you, but your business. So I have a ABC corporation, my ABC corporation will be taxed, not me. That is the difference. So you cannot let people run and tell you, taxation is theft, don't pay your income tax, because they having misinformation or having lack of knowledge is going to get you in trouble. And it's the same thing that we see throughout this whole thing. When people take little bits and pieces of knowledge and they're not fully competent in law and not fully competent or doing any type of case studies, they don't know these things. They don't know these things. So they'll take something they've seen off a meme, taxation is theft, and run with it. Oh, I don't got to pay my taxes, I'm a more, da 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 da. I was blind, but now I see. How do we become a natural person? Like I said, so you have to, because there's different levels, and I said, and this is especially, then say it don't work. Exactly. Oh, that more stuff don't work because you're not taking the proper steps. So again, to go back to Lexi's question, how you become a natural person, there are different steps, especially for us. All right, because yes, the Europeans, who are the poor so-called whites, right? The poor so-called white trash, they are in kind of the same boat, because at this point in time now it's just an overall oligarchy. right? So where the rich are the ones at the top and have all, all the power, and then if you do not have the money, you do not have the power. So they become in the same thing. But the difference is we've taken on their names. So we've taken on their Christian names. So your last name Smith, your last name Johnson, any name that denotes to slavery, you are saying that you are Christian property. So you are denoting yourself. The dude on CNN, right? Who, when he was talking about the 14th Amendment, yes, surnames equal Christians. When he was talking about the 14th Amendment and he slipped up and he said slaves, and then he said slaves, no, blacks, right? This again is them having the Freudian slip where they know, because as Taj and many other master teachers will tell you, that everybody is aware of this. Every politician is aware of this. Every, high-ranking priest or reverend is aware of this. These people know this, okay? And that's why they're able to dupe and deceive you, because they know what you don't. That's right, Nugget. They know what you don't. So having the name that denotes to slavery puts you as Christian property. Not only that, but when you are registering, yes, all scholars are aware of it. When you are registering yourself through birth certificates, careful, through birth certificates, through marriage certificates, through driver's licenses, you are basically building up a case to where you are that corporation. So to answer your question of how you become a natural citizen, you are clearing up a lot of things I brushed on Sabir that I didn't fully understand. And that's what I'm saying. There's different levels to it, right? So when I first got into the knowledge and I was watching Taj, I was like, yo, I cannot get nothing that he's saying. Like, Taj will literally, if he's going into it, and in certain lectures will go over your head, right? And then I started watching Sabir, and then I came across a video with Taj and Dr. Kawa Kamene, right? Where Kaba was kind of like the student there. And I love Kaba. I love Kaba. Love him. And I see him as a master teacher. But in that instance, he was the student. And he was talking, and Taj was kind of breaking it down. And Kaba has this kind of aura around him. Yes, I love Kaba. Kaba has this kind of aura around him, this feeling about him where he's able, yes, he's so super humble. And this is exactly my point of this video where I was watching. He was so humble where he, this is his favorite thing. Break it down to me, talk to me like I'm a 6-year-old, talk to me like that. And that's how I was able to get the information that was going over my head so many times listening to Taj. That's how I was able to finally get it, and it finally clicked to me like, oh, this is what he means by free white people. This is what he means by more. This is what, and it all kind of broke down to me. So having the people who are able to kind of come, so I'm coming through where you're sitting, David, right? Because things to me were not clear. Things to me were not clear, and it didn't matter how many times somebody showed me a definition in a law book or a law dictionary. It didn't matter how many times somebody showed me something in a case study. If you're not able to connect the dots to where, this is what I'm saying, as people coming into this Moorish knowledge have to be able to share it to others who are not, because we are closer in sleepiness, right? We're closer in not consciousness than those master teachers or those sages who have been in this for 15 years, for 20 years, for their lifetime, like Taj, right? Where they've been so far removed from being asleep that they cannot accurately, get to people where we as people who are just coming into this can now relay it to how people would be able to understand it, because the consciousness is always changing, right? Like how I said before, the precession of the equinox. We are changing, even our DNA is changing radically, right? So the way that people were able to break things down and describe things 15 years ago is not going to work the same 15 years later or 20 years down the line. We have to continuously change the way that we're able to communicate and break things down to people and connect the dots for them. So we as new people in this, we have the responsibility, right? Because being on more doesn't mean you just get to sit back and reap the benefits. No, absolutely not. Being a Moor means now you have taken on the responsibility, not only for your babies, but for everybody else, the rest of the sleepy people. The rest of the sleepy people, you've taken on that responsibility to educate them, and then to educate them properly. Active, not passive. And yes, passive Islam Moor, passive Moors are the ones who are reposting the memes, who are taking snippets off of YouTube, putting their tag name on there, and then just putting it out there for their likes or for shares or whatever. That's being a passive Moor. And they don't even give you no type of definition in their own words, in their own language. And this is the thing that irks me so much, that if you look at my Instagram, all of my captions, let me think before I say all, unless I say reposted from and I have the quotations to the, and we got to stop saying the 2.5 books, because they ain't even reading books. Stop it. We got to stop giving them that much credit that they're reading books, because they're not. They're watching YouTube. They're watching 2.5 YouTube videos. They're reading 2.5 memes. They're not reading books. Because if you look at half of these dudes out here who are Moors and who are on Instagram, ask them to show you their library. Ask them to show you their books. These dudes will literally repost somebody else's book, somebody else, and I told Sabir this all the time, like, yo, I be seeing when he was on Periscope, they'll screenshot. When he says screenshot this, they'll screenshot it. You'll see Sabir's finger and they'll post it like that's their finger reading it. Like, no, I know that's Sabir's finger. I was watching that Periscope. Or they'll do something like that. They'll repost somebody was reading a book, and I'm like, oh, they finally showing themselves reading their books, but it's not their book. It was I turned it around, I was like, wait, this person don't got kids. I never seen kids on their page, and it was a whole different person. So they're reposting other people's books, they're reposting other people's pages, and it's not theirs. It's not theirs. So I do suggest, right? Because I'm very, you have fun over there, Nugget. You have fun. I'm very avid of not putting your name on the knowledge, right? And I've said this so many times, that whenever you are creating any type of content, meme content, any type of video content, unless it is directly yours, unless you are the one behind the camera, you are the one interviewing the person, you should not put your name on it. But if it is your book, right, because these dudes like to take people's, books and front like it's theirs, and take people, or they'll go online. Oh, I got an etymology dictionary, but you'll go online to the etymology.com, or oxforddictionary.com, everything, blackslaw.com, and then they'll screenshot that and be like, oh yeah, but I got a law book, I got these books. And that, no, you went on the internet. So if you are the person that is taking a picture of your book, right, or highlighting your book, that you're the one doing the research, I highly suggest that you put your name on it, because these dudes are so quick to steal, and you putting on your name in it don't even make it safe, because these dudes are Photoshop pros. They'll Photoshop your whole name out of it. But like I said, you'll sit there and they'll take an interview of Kaba Kamene, and it's not even their interview. They're not even doing the interview. They're not asking the questions. They're not filming anything, and they'll slap their name on it. Like, what makes you think that that's okay, that that's yours? Repost the video, share the knowledge, and then give us your words or your content or what you think, because these people will take whole paragraphs off of Google, copy and paste whole paragraphs off of Google, and put it as their caption. And again, like I said, we, the ones who are coming into this knowledge, need to be connecting the dots for people who do not know. And we cannot connect the dots to their level. Really, they be doing that? That's a lot of work. Exactly. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. 2.5 books, nothing. 2.5 memes. 2.5 YouTube videos. That's what they're doing these days. That's what they're watching because they are so lazy. They don't want to do their own work. They want to sit there and be spoon-fed this information when you cannot be spoon-fed this information. You have to do the research. It's just like with the flower of life, going way off topic again here. But you will not be able to understand the flower of life and all its intricate workings until you draw it yourself. Until you make the dots and the connections and see how many geometric shapes are in the flower of life. Until you do that yourself, you will never, 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 never in a million years be able to comprehend it on the same level as those who are drawing it and putting in the work. Okay, so we have to stop looking to people, especially with like Sabir. We have to stop looking for Sabir to give us everything and lay it out for us. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good for yourself. We have to stop looking for these people to lay it out point by point by point for us, because that is not how we are going to be able to learn it enough to be able to teach the incoming people. So again, like I said, all my captions are my captions. Those are my words. And I always say this to people. A bear can tell you that all the words that come out of my mouth or written, it's not me speaking. It's not me speaking. Those are the ancestors speaking, and those are my spirit guides speaking. They're the ones. It's like I become in a trance, or I become possessed when pen hits paper or when I start typing. It's just on. It's just on. So again, those captions, those are my captions. Those are my words spoken from the ancestors. I'm just the mouthpiece. But you got these dudes sitting here copying and pasting, and then people will be like, well, I don't understand this. Can you break it down? And they'll write out, say, well, these are not my words. I Googled it. So what's the point? What is the point? What is the point? Because I'm not going to sit there and read entire paragraphs, more in comments. Like, you got a whole essay written here. That's not even your essay. It's called plagiarism. If I use anyone else's captions, I make sure to give honor where it is due. Exactly. Exactly. And that's anything. That's anything. Right? That's not just captions, but that is videos, that is memes, that's any content that they are posting and trying to front like, oh, I came up with this content. Oh, I came up with this caption. Oh, I'm the one that filmed this and was interviewing Kaba back in '73 when I wasn't even born yet. Like, come on with that. Y'all gotta stop. And that is the passive more. That's the passive more crap. That's the passive more crap. So to be active, to be an active more, you got to put in the work, and then not only put in the work researching and studying, but giving the people who are coming into this knowledge, or who are not even coming into this knowledge, but who just want to know more about it, giving them your perspective through your eyes, through your voice, because you'll be able to connect to them because you are more recent into coming into the knowledge versus a master teacher who has been in this for 40, 50 plus years, right? They're going to break it down the only way that they can at that point in time, because they've been so far, and this is not no disrespect to any of them, not no disrespect to any of the master teachers, but they have been so far removed from coming into the knowledge. That's why they teach us to teach them. This is the thing. And I don't say that I'm a teacher. I got a post that's going to be dope. I want dialogue, though. IG be bougie. IG do be bougie. And if it wasn't for me being kind of not sleep, because I was definitely conscious when I first started my IG, but at that point in time I was still on Facebook. So Facebook is where I would go hard, and Facebook is where I would have all the dialogue and all the discussions and stuff like that. And IG, because I had family who was just tired of seeing, Negroes don't want that work. Exactly. I had family on my Facebook who was tired of seeing, stuff about the government and conspiracy theory this and conspiracy theory that. So I was like, all right, let me go to make another social media. I made Hey Lady Kit on Instagram, and that was solely just for my family. I was posting up pictures, of myself and everything that I was doing. I posted a lot of Call of Duty stuff because I was playing Call of Duty or I still play Call of Duty, but I was like heavy into it at the time, and and again, it still was some conscious stuff because that's something you cannot turn off, right? Once you come into this kind of knowledge, you can't ever turn it off, So I would slip a little conscious post here and there, but at that time I still had Facebook. But then they shut down my Facebook, and so I was solely on Instagram, and then Anton Sterling happened and Walter Scott. It wasn't, I think somebody else said it was somebody, Philando Castile, but it wasn't him, it was Walter Scott, and somebody told me that. So Anton Sterling and Walter Scott pretty much died within the same 24 hours, and it was all broadcasted on social media, broadcasted on YouTube, and that's when I was like, all right, this ain't nothing about me. Call of the Kitties coming soon. Hey, if somebody want to make that happen too, I'm down for it, right? But yeah, it was around that time where I was like, you know what, this ain't about me anymore. I tried that whole ego thing, I tried that whole ego trip, and I got high off of the likes and da 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 da. This is especially towards Barrett, and then so I was averaging like, and this is not to toot my own horn, but I was averaging like 200 likes a post, again, about myself. It was just ego posts. Pictures of me going out, pictures of me on vacation, pictures of me in bikinis, pictures of me gaming, just pictures of me, averaging about 200 likes. And then I started posting the knowledge stuff, right? And I had the same amount of followers. Those likes dropped to like 30. Now I'm averaging like about 30 likes if on a good day. 30 on, if the post be up there a while and it's a really hot post, it'll be like, maybe 60 likes, right? It'll be like 60 likes. But again, I don't do it for the likes. That's not my MO. That's not my job. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because I noticed when I post up a video, because instead of showing you the likes, it just showed you how many people viewed it, right? I see 100, 200 views. So I'm like, all right, I see y'all watching. So I'm going to keep doing what I do. Y'all don't got to like it. That's why I say on my tagline, on my Instagram, you don't got to follow, you don't got to like. You getting this knowledge regardless. So IG can be bougie, people can be stush on IG, whatever. You just gotta keep doing what you're doing, because at the end of the day, Facebook be fun. I post in the group and people be coming. Yeah, I mean, like, and the same was for me. When I had Facebook. It would be like 100, 200 comments in the section. This is before they had the like and dislike buttons and stuff like that. Where you just posted whatever you was feeling. You post your status and people would just comment on it. And that's what was happening. I had a huge following on Facebook. On Facebook. But again, moving from the ego to the higher self. Okay, because we got to stop being about the ego. We got to stop worrying about who's liking this, because it's become now a drug. Like, if you don't get as many, and it's crazy how many people I'll see this happen to, where they'll post something, not get any likes within a certain amount of time, and take that post down. Because we've been conditioned, or we've been, kind of like, we become addicted to it. Your phone has to go off showing you how many likes you get. Every time you get one single like, you'll have to go back and see who liked your thing and then like their thing so they can like more of your stuff. It's really silly to me. Because at the end of the day, you can either use the social media for the way that they intended you to use it, where you're going to post about your entire life. You're going to give them all the clues that they're ever going to need. If anything ever happens, they'll know where you at, because you always be putting your location. They'll be knowing who you're around, because you always tagging those people, you know, you tagging those people, and you letting them know who you be around, where you be, what times you post, and where you work, and what you do for work. Everything can be found off of social media now. Or you can do the reverse and use it. Social snitch. Right, social snitching. Or you can use it for the reverse and use it against the system, right? But again, you have to be smart when you're using it against the system. You can't just sit there and see something that's posted to emotionally trigger you and then quick to repost it without, and I see it way too many times, without any research. People will post really silly stuff and I'm like, yo, did y'all even check this? Did y'all even check the fact? The Google? Did you Google check this or anything? Because you can use Google for that. You can type this in and Google will tell you, oh no, this is the Onion article, or you know, Snopes will tell you, you know, this has been debunked and da 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 da. Like, people don't do that. It's emotionally triggered. It's emotionally triggering. So then they'll quick to repost, like this whole Nefertiti thing, right? So many people came up to me or sent it to me or messaged me. Here I go, coming in late again. Listen, Martinez. Yeah, I mean, you can always go catch the replay, but I be trying to come in, you know, around the same time, you know, every day, or the days that I do come on. I be trying to come in around the same time, so you should already have it in your head around the time that I be coming in. But damn, you threw me off. Oh yeah, the Nefertiti thing. So many people messaging me, showing me, oh, you see this Nefertiti, and I'm just like, why are we going through this again? Like, why do y'all still get triggered by this? I love it better live. I know it's always fun. It's always funner live. Why do we always get triggered by this BS, this crap that they be pulling, right? Because I forget. It was in one of my, I don't know if it's a book that I have here or a book that I have in storage back home, but the Nefertiti bust, right? The Nefertiti, the statue of Nefertiti that was in, I believe it was a British museum that it was displayed in as facts, and that's crazy to me. They display it as facts. Like, this is what Nefertiti looked like. Here it is. Now we got to stop wondering. She was the most beautiful. She was the height of beauty, or the epitome of beauty in that time. And this is what she looked like. She looked European, right? And then someone carbon dated it because they said that it was so old, but then you had somebody who carbon dated it, or not even someone carbon dated it. Someone did carbon date it, but you had somebody who was like a con artist, right? And this is debunking the Nefertiti bust. A con artist was like, nah, this is fake, you know. And then he was showing all I guess he was like he was like an art con artist or something like that, and he was pointing out all the stuff that was fake. And then they actually came up and said that it was dated back into 1912, which is the person who so-called discovered it was the one who created it in the image and likeness of his wife. That's who that bust of Nefertiti looks like. And it's so funny to me how this new image of Nefertiti, of what the mummy Nefertiti looks like, what the mummy of Nefertiti looks like. See, even the Nugget knows it's BS. The mummy of Nefertiti, these reconstructed images looks exactly like the bust of Nefertiti, which we know to be a fake. And this is what I keep telling people. They've tried to play us like this already. Okay, so CNN having it out there, you know, that doesn't make it any more credible, because the bust of Nefertiti was sitting in a museum in a British museum. Okay, so they already try to pull this. We already know they be trying to so-called whitewash the it should be blackwashed, right? But whitewash our history. You know, bleach the hieroglyphs. My issue is the Negroes that let this fly. There are some YouTubers literally trying to say Egyptians were European. Exactly. But here's the thing. What do you mean by let it fly? Because me, I'm gonna let this fly because I already know it's BS. Micah, leave it. Leave it. I already know it's BS. They will be a great stoning. Why are you always talking about stoning people, Barrett? You're always talking about stoning people. Violence is not the answer. The hieroglyphs literally show their skin color. But see, the hieroglyphs have been bleached. A lot of them have been bleached. Where it's funny because you will see dark skin. I self-law and master and nationality is the order of the day. We need to have our own social media outlet to inform our people, for real, for real. Listen, Mustafa, it's already in works. I am working with 2 very special Moors. Barrett is one of them, to get this popping off. And again, yes, they bleached the hieroglyphics. It's not going to be like in RV Bay Publications, because we're not trying to take anything away from RV Bay. But like I was saying to Barrett and this other Moor, that RV Bay Publications is for those who already know the knowledge, who are going there to get Peace Martinez, that's what's up. RV Bay Publications is for those who are already in the knowledge, and who can go and read that website, or read all the information on that website and decipher it. Where the sleepy Moor or the sleepy Negro can't go to RV Bay Publications and then decipher what they're trying to say. So we need that buffer zone, right? Because if we let this fly now, 100 years from now, the sleepy Moor's children wouldn't know the truth. Okay, but that's them, all right? So we can't save everybody. We can't save everybody. We got to put the information out there and save as many people as we can. But again, it's not up to us to convince them. It's up to them to convince themselves. So Micah is going to grow up knowing what he is, who he is, what an adjective is, what a noun is, what his people did. He's not gonna grow up saying, "Oh, well, black people love saying that black people made everything. That blacks were the first to do everything. We sometimes have to give credit to the white person." Again, using these terms, he's gonna know what white means. He's gonna know what black means. He's gonna know their colors that he's gonna have in his crayon box. I feel you need videos or skits for sleepy Moors since they don't like reading. Exactly. So. What we're planning is kind of like a little buffer, and kind of make it hidden in plain sight, right? To where they'll be getting knowledge that they don't even know that they're gonna be getting. It's gonna be real tough, and we're kind of like it's really like the beginning stages right now. It's really like the beginning stages, yes. So more comedy is giving us more fuel. So it's really in the beginning stages, and as it furthers along, I'll let y'all know what's up and how you can get down with the movement if you so choose. But again, we have to be like that kind of buffer zone. Us who are just coming into this knowledge, or have been in it for a few years, who still remember what it was like to be a sleepy Moor, need to be the ones to explain things. Like I was just explaining to David, or, not specifically to David, but just explaining, the difference between free white person and the difference between, having an income tax and stuff like that, to where he was able to understand it, where it's finally able to click for him. Okay, so we need to have that little buffer zone. The buffer zone between sleepy Moors watching the Shade Room or whatever, to be able to go to RV Bay Publications and decipher everything there. So yeah, that's that. Peace and love. I feel you. I appreciate you. Islam, my friend. Islam, Mustafa. So yeah, so we have to be able to kind of, what you think about voodoo and that kind of stuff. Someone I know out of the blue promoting crystals and voodoo out of the blue. Sabir on no, I know I got his notifications. Crystals and voodoo and stuff. So all that stuff belongs to us. Again, We gotta stop giving so much credit to these Europeans, so much credit to these Paleoliths, because we keep giving them the names, we keep giving them our nobility, we keep giving them our everything, and then at the end of the day, like Barrett said, in 100 years, our children, our Moorish children, are gonna grow up thinking that everything that they've ever got came from the European. So again, and then they take it and they pervert it, right? So they'll take voodoo or voodoo and make it seem like it's devil worship. Yes, make it seem like it's not ours. They'll make it seem like it's devil worship. They'll make it seem like, having crystals is some kind of hippie stuff. Y'all should make a YouTube page, call it Moors Kindergarten for sleepy Moors. That is an idea. We are definitely trying to incorporate the Be-Lacking children. We're definitely trying to incorporate this social media because, again, like I said, the gap is not only in knowledge, but the gap is in how they're able to access and navigate technology. Okay, so Taj and then Kant, it all started and originated with us, our way of life, spirituality. Yes, so Taj and them are not as connected to social media like we are. Like, we can go and set up any type of page. We can go set up any type of YouTube. We can go promote all our stuff. We can do that. They, on the other hand, are like kind of like children again. Like how I was teaching Hannibal how to use Google Hangouts and FaceTime. Like, he never FaceTime before, and he wasn't aware of how to use Google Hangouts. Again, so he has all this knowledge. He and he's so humble as well. He's another humble one, my humble teacher. So, but again, it's the stuff that they lack that we should compensate for. So this whole social media movement, we should be able to compensate that for them. They shouldn't be able to be the ones, well, I have to sit here and make a social media. They're not going to care about it because they grew up in a time where everything was face to face. Everything that they did, they actually went to the people where we can be able to utilize. Like, I'm all the way in Japan. I know a lot of y'all are in the Americas. We're able to utilize this, and we're able to talk to each other and stuff like that, where they, and to a lot of other, older folks, this concept is kind of crazy. Like, even my grandmother's, it's still new to her how we can talk on the phone and see each other's face. And she'll even say, like, is this a video? Is this old? Is this a video? Like, nah, this is right now. I'm talking to you right now. Da 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 da. So again, we have to be those ones in that gender gap, that generational gap. It is our responsibility as active Moors. We have the responsibility to bring in the sleepy Moors, right? We can't sit there and continue, bless you, Nugget, continue to complain that the sleepy Moors do this, or they're not woke, or da 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 da, and they keep, calling themselves black, when we need to have the responsibility not to hoard this knowledge to ourselves, not to hoard the knowledge to those around us, or to kind of appease to other, social media moguls or famous social media people who have K's behind their following, and be like, oh, see me, I'm a Moor too, I'm in the knowledge too, da 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 da, let's, connect, da 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 da. You have to be connecting to the people who are not in this, because that's the only way that we're going to make this work. Because if we solely hoard if we solely hoard the knowledge, we're just as bad as the Europeans, or just as bad as the secret societies, who sit there and know all about us, know all about the Moors, who wear their fezzes in secret, right? Who wear their turbans in secret, who call themselves Els, Ils, Beys, Alis, all that, all in secret. All right? That's what we're doing right now. We kind of like to make this little tight-knit community of, oh, these people know what I'm talking about, so I'm only going to try to talk to these people. So I'm just going to copy and paste this whole paragraph off of RV Bay and post it as my caption, because everybody that I'm talking to already knows. It don't work like that, and it's never going to work like that, and we're never going to be able to kind of rebuild the empire to wake up these sleepy Moors until we who are new in this, who are active, kind of, help them and guide them into this knowledge, slowly but surely, block by block, right? Taking the bricks and building the foundation. That's what we got to do as a people. So yes, but to go to your voodoo and voodoo and your crystal stuff, like I have crystals, and actually Hannibal told me to get a crystal ball, but those joints are super expensive. And I don't know of any crystal shops here in Japan. So again, I'll have to wait till I get back home. The only way we can make any difference is to look in the mirror and find no enemy. Logic. Yes, we have to look in the mirror and realize that we are our own enemy. We are our worst enemy. Crystals are also sentient beings. Crystals are like trees, right? Crystals are like plants. They have and emit their own vibration. They emit their own waves, and they hold information. So that's why computers, in your computer, in your phone, on your CDs, all crystals, because crystals hold information, and they were able. I think I went over this on another video, but I'll touch upon it again. How they were able to project a holographic image in a quartz crystal, and how they're experimenting with. Yes, you can program them too. Yes, so you can program your crystals like. I'll grab the closest one to me. I have crystals all over the house. I set up a grid every time I move to a new house, because like I said, we're military, so we move a lot. So I set up crystal grids around the house to kind of cleanse the energy and protect my house. So this is citrine. Okay, so this is energy, this is abundance. So you can program your crystals for what you want it to attract, and you have to give them a little cleansing and a little bath and re-energize them. So to do that, the best way to do it is to actually go to like the ocean and get rose salt water. But if you have sea salts, which I have sea salts in my cabinet, take purified water and mix it with the sea salts, put your crystals in there, and that will cleanse the crystals, and then you leave them in the sun so they're able to recharge. So like I said, they emit their own vibrations. They're able, some crystal properties are able to, like orgonite, they're able to transmute the energy. Orgonite's really good for, fixing. Micah, do you mind? See, listen. Hold on one second, yeah. Look. Come here. Why are you always moving stuff? Hey, you want to play with the crystal? Play with the crystal. No, we don't eat the crystal. We play with it. All right. He keeps trying to put it in his mouth. We're not gonna play. All right, here, Tuma. I'll watch him go wild now because he got the energy crystal. I should have gave him the common one. Should have gave him some amethyst. But anyways, so yes, so orgonite is good for like Wi-Fi. I use mine to grow my home garden pink quartz. Yes, so there's so many properties for them, and different crystals. What do you want? What do you want? You just want to eat it? You don't eat crystals, Nugget. It's not food. So yes, so here, let me take y'all on a little journey. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that seems to be a thing among certain crowds. Do they attract like physical things or energies? So What is it? I have a crystal Bible here. I think I showed y'all this before. But a little part of my crystal grid. It's a crystal Bible. I also have the herbal healing Bible. Again, they have the Europeans are always the ones that have this kind of information and share this information among themselves. Thank you. It was actually a wedding gift, that big one, that big amethyst. Here. You want to chew on something? I know. He's got molars coming in, so he's teething again, which is always fun. Can you excuse me? Can you excuse me? I don't want to knock you over a minute. So yes, there are crystals to. There are crystals to, like I forget what it's called. Begins with the C, and a lot of these ones are really hard for me to remember, but they're good for like I put it under my pillow, under my mattress, to kind of like bring enlightenment or help me while I'm dreaming. Other ones like amethyst is really good for like clairvoyancy. And psychic abilities and stuff like that. Rose quartz is for love, which everybody kind of remembers. And then you also have crystals that are kind of aligned with certain chakras. So, let's look at one that I already talked about. So we got rose quartz, right? Probably better if I flip the camera, right? Doop, doop. Right? So rose quartz tells you the color, the hardness, its composition, the qualities, and the chakra, right? Again, you see these are our people, but we have the Europeans are the ones who are sitting here taking this information and learning the information of what we know and kind of sharing it among themselves. Well, not sharing it among themselves, but the only people who are going to like their pages and stuff or their websites and stuff are other Europeans, because we'll look at that as like, because we've been so conditioned in Christianity or other forms, like in Islam, the religion, Islam, the control system, to where all this stuff seems like, or all this stuff is portrayed to be devil worship, and it's all paganism and stuff like that. So that's what a lot of people will be like, oh, this stone doesn't do anything for me. I can't feel anything. Where if you are going to, kind of be closed-minded and close yourself off to it, you're not going to feel nothing. But I've always been able to feel vibrations from stones. I've always been able to feel energies from plants. And I'm doing also this kind of spiritual work with Hannibal, where he's teaching me some other stuff. What I don't know if he wants me to, kind of be out with it or say anything. So they attract energies like clarity, love, friendship, etc. I wouldn't say they attract them, but they enhance them, or they're able to make you more open to them, because these energies are always flowing through. They're all these energies, this love, this abundance and stuff like that. It's out in the universe. We just have to be like, they're like magnets, so they'll attract it to you. They'll what's the word I want to use? They'll make it more like apparent, I want to say. It's not really what I want to say, but yeah, they'll kind of enhance it. There you go. They'll like enhance those energies in your life. Baby nugget. So yes, so I highly suggest getting into crystals, um, and working with them, and especially being open or meditating with them. Um, when Michael was younger, when he was a baby and he was able to, lay still, I would put the crystals on him, on all his chakras. Now it's kind of hard for me to do that because he will not lay still, or he'll try to eat them or something like that, like he just tried to just now. But yes, crystals are definitely something to look into, especially if you are and not just crystals, but all types of gemstones and metals and stuff like that. Like here's copper. Copper's in here, which is not. I'll look into certain people are swearing by it. Yeah. So again, so if you are into this energy work and you're able to manifest, and this is not something that just happens, like maybe if you are kind of in tune to it, or you're adept naturally, then I would say so. Like myself, like I've never been closed off to it, and I feel like because my mom's always had crystals around, that I've always been open to it. But for someone who is not, or who's been kind of sheltered or protected from these things, and kind of like just washed in, Wi-Fi and television and all this stuff like that. I use a lot of magnets also whenever I'm around certain crowds. Yes, magnets are really good. I feel like Hannibal will let me say this, but magnets kind of increase the power in your healing. So what he tells me to do is rub magnets in my hand. I think it's three times a day, or forever, to increase the power. To increase our power output. And there's also a lot of other things that he's been kind of dropping, gems that he's dropping on me. So I gotta kind of talk with him and have him let me know what's okay for me to divulge, or what he only wants to be taught to his students. So like I said, these things, you have to kind of be open and reopen yourself to it. I inhale into it for 30 seconds. See, and again, and you never know who's doing what, right? So, like I don't know more comedy from a hole in the wall. I don't know if that's a bad expression or not, but I don't know him like that. But we have this stuff in common, where you can never tell by what a person looks like, or how a person acts to what they're into. That what's weird, like a couple of years ago, atheism was popular. Now out of the blue, spirituality has become more prevalent, but it's away from European spirituality or European Christianity. Yes. So I feel like now people have been, and again, it's the Europeans who are coming into this ancient Moorish knowledge, right? Of crystals, of the flower of life, where they try to make it seem like it's theirs, like their ancestors, but it's really our stuff. Crystal work, mediums, psychics, any of that stuff is ancient Moorish knowledge, ancient Moorish science, and they're coming into it. And there he is, Hannibal. I was just talking about you. So they're coming into this, and now that they're saying it's theirs, so they're sharing it among their circles, and we only get wind of it because we have European friends or European connects, so where it'll pop up in our social media feeds or on our YouTube channels or something like that. We'll catch a little whiff of it. But again, you'll see, and you can go on YouTube it yourself, put in crystal readings or crystal work or psychic work or anything like that, and you'll see that 9 times out of 10, what's coming up is a European that's talking about our knowledge. And this is why we have our sleepy Moors saying, oh, well, we can't, so-called black people can't claim everything for themselves. I was watching the guy's Facebook page like 2 minutes before I saw you online, so I'm glad I got some questions answered tonight. Yes, I'm glad a lot of questions are being answered tonight, from law to spirituality. That's dope. That's dope for me. I feel like it's, I'm actually reaching some people. So, so Hannibal, we're just talking about crystals. Stop to say peace to all. Go to do some spiritual work. All right, Islam. See, you finally broke one. little nugget. Oh wait, no, that's the one he already broke. Okay, this little one. I gotta stop playing with the citrine because he's getting too energized over here. So yes, so I'm glad questions are being answered, and we're diving a little deeper into things. I'm back if I'm done. Oh, God bless you, or God bless you, Hannibal. We'll talk later. I hope you got my messages on Hangouts. Yeah, man, it's dope. I found you and these people in this chat. Y'all be enlightening me. Like I said, we gotta help each other out. We gotta, because I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of stuff that a lot of people on here, like Sahar, knows about nutrition and all the stuff that I don't really know about, like that I'm not that deep into. Barrett knows a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not that deep into because he's been into this more knowledge longer than me, more comedy. So we have to be able to let go of the ego and let ourselves be open to being taught and being open. Gotta go check it, Your Highness. So we have to be open to being taught and open to kind of feeling like we don't know it all, and as much as we do know, that there's still more for us to learn. And that's what's so special about children is they're always willing to learn, and they're always willing to, even though there's some that act like they know it all, but deep down inside they'll keep asking you questions, keep asking you questions, keep asking you questions. As adults, we kind of lost that to ask questions. We feel like, why do I gotta ask? There's so much to learn. Exactly. And you can learn from anybody. You can learn from anybody. It does not have to be just a master teacher, right? Because any of us can be master teachers. Yes, everybody on here on the same wavelength anyway. We all found this chat looking for answers on YouTube anyways. Yes, and I do hope that eventually we have more people, more of those sleepy Moors come in and join us on this chat, because that's who I'm kind of gearing this to. Like I said, those of us who are already in the knowledge, we need to be able to pull other people in. I don't do this for people who already know. I'm doing this for people who don't know. And then for people who already know, I'm discussing with them so I can learn more. Or we'll just discuss and have like a little circle. I learn a lot from my children. I'm so familiar. Yeah, definitely. Because again, like I said, they're born closer to the precession of the equinox, right? They're born closest to the precession of the equinox, so they already come in knowing stuff. This is another point that I wanted to talk about, which is kind of like diverting from this whole Moorish thing. We were watching Planet Earth, that little, I guess it'd be a docuseries, Planet Earth, where kind of. I'd be like, how you know that? Yeah, they be just, waking up with the knowledge. This little boy. Lord. So, we were watching Planet Earth, and one of the little segments was these lizards, right? They were buried, like their eggs were buried underground on this island, and once they're born, like they're born in like to chaos, right? Because they're born, and as like you see one coming out of the ground, and it's crawling around, it's walking around, and then all of a sudden you just see like hundreds of snakes, like snakes everywhere coming to chase these lizards, because that's their food source, is the lizards. So these lizards are born into the dirt, into the sugar honey iced tea hole, and you see these lizards just being born and then dipping, like, and we sit there and think, like, how do they know that this is dangerous or this is peril. Yeah, I saw that video on YouTube. Yeah, my husband was like, oh, is this the video I seen circling on thing? I didn't see it. For some reason, all these... Oh, before I go, His Grace watched some of your video with me last Friday. That's crazy, Hannibal. I was watching him yesterday too. And it's like, it's almost like I'm connected through Taj. And funny, somebody told me that Taj was my teacher. And I was like, they just start running up the rocks. Yeah. Somebody was like, oh, Taj is your teacher. Taj is the one that... I was like, yo, I wish Taj was my teacher. And here I am talking with Hannibal, and Taj is watching my videos. So the universe works in very mysterious ways. And anything that you put out there, again, like the crystal, the abundance, anything that you put out there and you're open to receiving is what you're gonna get. You may not get it in the form that you wanted or you expected, but you're gonna get it. He was impressed and said what I said, that you're gorgeous. Give thanks to him, Hannibal, both of y'all. Dr. Nalia Gilliam said they will be streaming from YouTube very soon. That's what's up, because then I could watch him. Then I could watch him, because I get jealous, just like how I got jealous you got to watch Hannibal on Facebook, and I didn't get to see him on Facebook. And Hannibal was even surprised, I think, that he was on Facebook. Watch your head, Nug. And intelligent for a young cherub. Well, again, I give thanks. It's not to me. I'm open to being taught, and like I said, I don't. As much as I know there's like 100 billion things that I don't know, and I'm just open to receiving. I know that my spirit guides kind of are like working overtime. Hannibal Bay was kicking gems like he always does. He'll come in and say like 2 things, and it'll be like, out of those 2 things, 1.5 things are gem dropping. And like I said, Hannibal, yes, you took the words right out of my mouth, Sahar. Hannibal is super, super humble. Super humble. We love you too, Hannibal. Super humble to the fact, like, where he'll be like, I'm his teacher. Like, I keep saying that he's my teacher, but he's like, no, you're the one that's teaching me all these things. So yes, Hannibal is dumb humble, and I am so lucky to be, learning what I am learning from him, and the fact that he be showing my videos to Taj, like, that's crazy to me. But anyways, I digress. So the lizards on the little snake island, on the snake island, and how they are born kind of like, racing for their lives up this rock, and we're like, yo, how are they born with this knowledge, just like all these other animals that we've seen are kind of born with this knowledge, right? And it touches back to what Taj says, is that, the womb is your first schoolroom. The room is where you first learning everything. So we already, it's in their genetics. Yes, it's in their DNA, and they already know these things because of it's in their DNA. And when we say it's in their DNA, it's in their instinct. We kind of when scientific or scholarly people say that, we kind of take it as, oh, well, they're not aware, they're not sentient as much as we are. But we have to realize that they are even more sentient than we are to be able to be born with this knowledge, right? Because we sit here and our children are born with this knowledge, but every day that they learn from the control system that's around, we kind of like proverbially beat it out of them. We beat out of them the knowledge that they have about energy work. We beat out of them the knowledge that they have about the connection that they have with the divine. We kind of beat all of that out and say, well, you are not divine. You are only a man, and divinity is outside of you. And for you to kind of talk to that divinity, or kind of, kind of be in touch with that divinity, you have to go through this avenue. You have to go to a church, or you have to go to a mosque, and you have to talk to a priest or imam. Just like us, when we come into new knowledge, sometimes I sit at my table reading like, whoa, I knew that, but couldn't really unexplain. Yes, exactly. So just like how I said, I knew that taxation is theft, but didn't really know how it works until it was broken down to me. So same as how we are born with this kind of knowledge, but it's kind of like pushed out of us, and then we have to relearn it. So we have to relearn about using crystals and crystal work. We have to relearn about our own divinity. And we have to relearn how to be able to connect to this unseen consciousness that, so it looks like every other animal is able to connect. So when I was watching this Planet Earth series, it was just really all, first of all, the fact that so that this terra plane is so diverse in its like not atmosphere, but ecosystems and environments, right? It's so diverse from mountainous to grasslands to rainforests to deserts to tundras and all that. You kind of lose sight of that being like growing up in a city or growing up in a developed country. You kind of lose sight of how, you know, just amazing that this world looks like. And then all the animals that's on this world, right? A lot of them look like, and my husband was like, this is aliens. He's like, we look outside, we look out to the universe for aliens, but the aliens are right here. Yes, that's true. We inherently know truth. Yes. So he's like, the aliens are here. And that's like, I was like, do you even know what you're saying? Because I, again, on a different consciousness level than my husband, I took that as something else. The aliens are already here. Well, why are the aliens already here? I know they say it's our duties as parents, guardians, to remind our children who they were before. Exactly. And then let them come into the, like, not giving them boundaries, which is what we do. We give them boundaries, right? You know, don't talk to, there's no such thing as an imaginary friend. You're talking to yourself. When who knows what spirit guides they're talking to, and who knows what information that they're getting from those spirit guides. We're telling them to completely ignore it, to completely shut it down. So then we're potentially cutting them off from all types of knowledge, right? That they could be getting from their spirit guides or their ancestors who are kind of talking through them. That's why you'll see, you know, these children, you know, coming up and remembering their past lives, right? Yeah, I don't force it. I suggest the knowledge. Exactly. We just have to make sure that we are not, it's like a little fine line between we have to remember that they are ancestors too. Exactly. I'm gonna put a pin on that real quick. We have to remember that there's a fine line between kind of imposing your own ideology and then kind of letting them form their own opinions. I was just going to say that about children, remember, not kids, children, and their past lives. Yes, so that's why so many of them grow up, or when they're starting to talk, they're able to describe their past lives. And, you know, a lot of our children are our ancestors. So, you know, like, I'm just going to say, you know, Micah could be my grandfather, and when he's, you know, grows up and able to talk, bless you, Nug, and able to talk and form sentences and coherent sentences and stuff like that, he'll describe things that, yes, children, he'll describe things that only I know about my grandfather, and there'll be no way that he would know about my grandfather because my grandfather already passed. So stuff like that, where we have to let them be open to these things and not kind of discourage them or ridicule them or make them feel some type of way for being the way that they are. You know, like I said, as me as a child, I was very in touch and in tune with nature and with energies, you know, and I could have turned out completely different if I was, you know, if I was made to be put in the box. And I guess because I was the firstborn, I was, you know, allowed to kind of be that way, because like they always say, your firstborns are kind of like your experiments. You're experimenting as a parent. So you'll try what works and what doesn't. So I was kind of able to grow and form my own self. Whereas my sister, I feel like it was a completely different approach, and same as my brother. I never asked my children what you want to be when you grow up. Yes, I always ask them, who are you? Yes. Or who do you want to be? Who do you want to be when you get older? Not what do you want to be? Because we always want to push some type of profession on them, and we seldom realize that it's not the profession that is going to make your child. It is the type of person that they're going to be that's going to make your child. Why are you yelling, Nugget? Why are you yelling, Nugget? Daddy's gonna be mad. I learned that from my grandmother, and it works. Yes, and we have to always, sometimes what we learn from, or what our elders are taught, are not always what's correct, or what's not what's correct, but what's pertinent for us, right? It's not always like that, because they've been conditioned as well. But sometimes we have to realize that it is, some of the stuff that they do have is very pertinent to how we raise our children. So yes, Planet Earth was very enlightening, and the only thing that I was kind of bummed about watching it was at the end of each episode, they always come back to how humans are destroying the planet, and how we're encroaching on natural, which is true sometimes, but I feel like there's always an agenda of how things happen. But then they came to the last episode was about cities, and how, because cities have been growing all crazy around the world, that now wild animals are now kind of making the cities their territories. And the thing that got me was baby turtles. So they had baby turtles that how they buried in the sand by the ocean, and what attracts the baby turtles to go into the ocean, to go swim towards the ocean, is the light of the moon. So now with all the cities, and they made a very good point that now it's kind of been distorted between day and night, because in the city, you have all these bright lights, and especially major cities like New York and Hong Kong and Tokyo, where the light there is pretty much no differentiation between day and night, where the light is so bright and so crazy. So these baby turtles have now become disoriented by the lights in the city, to where they're now, you can't see the stars. It's not even seeing the stars, where it looks like it's daytime. Forget about seeing the stars, because these animals aren't looking for the stars. The baby turtles are attracted to the light of the moon, which give them the direction of going into the ocean. So they've been kind of now diverted and being attracted to the light of the city, to where they're turning away from the ocean to where they're naturally supposed to go, and they're going into the city. And then of course they're going into the city, and they're gonna die, because they're not made to be trekking on land like that. They're made to be in the sea. And forget about the perils of them going from land to sea. Now they got the perils of crossing streets and falling in sewers. And this was so sad. They were like falling in sewers and getting trapped in like plastic cups and stuff like that. And I was just like, it's so crazy to me how easy it would be to like build up a fence, right? Build up a fence between the beach and the street, because you see all these like dead turtles in the street, and you like, again, humans have this responsibility. Like, we want to call ourselves the top of the food chain, the sentient beings, the most sentient beings on this planet. The turtles in the cities are like the sleepy Mortons. That's a messed up analogy, because I was sitting there tearing up at the little baby turtles, man. Oh, like these little baby turtles. You see dead turtles in the city. Don't laugh at that, Barrett. That's messed up. 'Cause I was shedding tears. I'm very empathic, so even if it's animals, you know what I'm saying, they have souls, and they are sentient. And as much as we like to say, we are a higher form of evolution than them, they know way more than us, especially, the older and more ancient animals like the whales, who have an abundance of knowledge that we do not have. The trees have an abundance of knowledge that we do not have. The crystals have an abundance of knowledge that we do not have. Yet we are so arrogant and so egotistical to think that we are the top, the epitome of evolution, and there's nothing we can learn from nature. To the point where we see dead baby turtles in the street. They're going to their graves. Y'all are so messed up. Y'all are so messed up. They're going to their graves instead of enlightenment. Y'all are so messed up talking about it, because I was literally crying about these baby turtles, man. Y'all about to make me start tearing up again thinking about that, and then thinking about our people. That's a very grim, but it's a factual analogy, because the same way that I thinking about these baby turtles is the same way I think about our people. It's a rap perfect analogy. But again, let's get deeper into the analogy, right? So again, it's the construct of the cities and the false lights that are bringing the turtles away from the natural light source, and away from their natural habitat, to where they're going to an unnatural habitat, to a false light source, right? So again, we can attribute that to all the falsities that we're given in in this life. And y'all are making me fall into this whole little analogy thing when I was just crying about the little baby turtles, man. But again, like I said, it is too easy for us as sentient, so-called height of evolutionary beings to build up a fence to prevent this from happening. Yes, credits go to more comedy, because he be giving me the bomb analogies, Um, but again, it is super sad. But they were talking about, how certain cities are kind of noticing the effects that, the growth of these cities are having on the habitats around them. So these cities are starting to, incorporate nature into the construction or the architecture of their cities. So one example was Milan, how they were, putting trees on the skyscrapers. So they were building trees and making like a kind of vertical forest, where they were saying that there were so many acres that these trees could have been in, and it's now pushed into one giant, skyscraper. But then again, I was like, okay, sleepy Moors have souls. Every time they say they're black, I'll be like, "Aw, go towards the moon." They should have done that anyway. Concrete jungles aren't natural. No, it's not. But again, like if you look at any kind of apocalyptic, movie, or any kind of apocalyptic, I think there was a show, I think it was on the Discovery Channel, saying like 100 years or 1,000 years or something like that after the humans, right? Where they were kind of like chronicling what would happen 50 years after the humans, what would happen 100 years, what would happen 1,000 years. And you progressively see nature will always win. And it's happening even now. Nature will always win. We cannot fight against nature, no matter how much technology that we claim that we have, no matter how freaking bright or intelligent that we are. We cannot go against nature. We have to learn to work with nature. So like they were doing in Singapore, where they're building all these kind of habitats to help mesh with the nature around them. But again, like I said to my husband, okay, so this vertical, this vertical structure, this skyscraper of trees, that's gonna bring back the birds, that's gonna bring back the squirrels and stuff like that. But what happens to the bigger mammals? Because we're also encroaching on their territory as well. So a big thing, and note, if yes, nature will always win. Note, if you ever go to Mumbai, India, they have a jaguar problem, and it's not like no raccoons or like how you got coyotes, in the western United States. They got whole jaguars, like, and the jaguars, because how busy it is at night there, they're able to hunt, kind of like invisibly, because you first of all, they're trained to be in nature to not make a sound. So now they got all this ambient noise behind them. Of course they're gonna be, hunting like crazy there, and they are big. They are some big cats, and they were, them jags. Yes, they do. They said, I think it was like 25 people that year that they killed, but the jaguars don't go after the people, they go after their livestock, which is the pigs, right? And again, I was sad, even though I know that pigs are dirty animals and they're hybrid animals and all that stuff like that. I was still sad when the jaguar ran up and snatched the little piglet, and I heard the little wee, 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 piglet crying, catching a cab and a jag destroying. Exactly. Like, they had the night vision, and they had like this group of Indians walking on a bridge, right? Smoking their cigarettes, chilling, talking, and right behind them, like 20 feet behind them, there's like a jaguar walking behind them, but it's like so dark, and it's the noise in the city that they ain't even realize it. They was like, the only way that you can be able to track these animals is having night vision, because they're such good predators, and they're so good at camouflage, and they're so good at being the hunters that nature had made them, that we don't compare to them. You know what I'm saying? So again, like I said, nature will always win. But when we're encroaching upon them, and we always say, well, there's a jaguar problem, or there's a coyote problem. Nah, there's a human problem. There's a human problem, because we've always existed, right? We've always existed. We've always had cities. We've always had, groups of humans and stuff like that. But it's never been to the effect that it is now, where a lot of the times we just don't care anymore. We don't care about, how our presence is affecting nature and what we are doing. So now there's like a big, push for, recycling and living green and all that stuff like that. But again, I feel like that comes more towards, carbon emissions and stuff like that. But we still have the garbage problem, right? The plastic problem, where there's like huge islands out in the Pacific Ocean of plastic bags, plastic bottles and stuff like that. But we're not talking about that. We're not talking about what we're doing with these landfills. I love these videos. I always have the Globetrotter song in my head when they try to capture the jag. I know what song you're talking about. Now it's like, how they say some things can't be unseen? That thing cannot be unheard now. Now I'm playing that in my head, and I'm playing the Globetrotter song with it. But I digress. Bless Snug. So yeah, humans, we gotta step it up. We gotta step it up, because we not all that. We not all that in the bag of chips. We not as smart as we think we are. Like I said, we got whole islands of plastic out in the Pacific Ocean, but we talking about some carbon emissions, right? We're talking about and then we don't really attack what, it's not the cars that's creating the biggest karma emission, the carbon emission. It's the mass murder farms that we have of cattle. It's beef, it's cows that are the big carbon emissions. Animals will leave you alone if you don't encroach on their land. My grandmother's house deep in the country, and a forest deep in her backyard with crocs. They never mess with us. Yeah, I saw that too, man. Saw what too? The jaguar, the jaguar thing. It's crazy, but it really be making me think like we could be living whole differently, and especially if we get back to, didn't a whole coral reef die last year? I mean, coral reefs have been dying pretty much every year, every year. Yes, those jags are the real deal. Coral reefs have been dying pretty much every year, and it's crazy how we sit there and we don't. Oh, the trash video. Yes, the giant plastic island. We sit there and we be like, oh, it's carbon. It's the carbon problem. That's what's causing the huge problem of global warming and stuff like that. But we never attack other issues like the bleaching and the dying of coral reefs, or the plastic the trash islands and stuff like that. We never, like, here in Japan, they're very strict of where trash goes, right? Like, they will, like, straight up fine you for having the wrong trash, like the wrong trash in the wrong receptacles. So they'll have plastic, they'll have paper, and then they'll have like burnable garbage. So they'll take their garbage and burn it, to where we'll take garbage and we'll throw it in landfills, and then people don't care. And I had to get my husband out of that kind of idea, or how he was thinking, to where you could just throw anything in the garbage. Like, you have to be aware of what you're throwing in the garbage, because 9 times out of 10 that's gonna go into the ground, and things are not gonna degrade the same way. Like, plastic doesn't degrade the same way as paper does. So why you always gotta cause mischief, Nugget? Just a big ball of mischief. So yeah, so that was that, and I feel like that could be a video, or, a whole nother video, a whole nother conversation on itself. What do you think about turn? Yo, I thought that was dope. I thought that was real dope. The little bio, they call it the bio urns, I think, or whatever. Like, your body basically becomes fertilizer for a seed. I think that's really dope. But again, we gotta work so hard to fix stuff that we are in charge of messing up. Like, I think they say something like the size of Britain, like not rainforest, but like, parts of like rainforest are getting, like, the size of Britain are getting lost every year. So, and if you look, Britain is a huge, it's not like, it's not like, what's a small country? It's not like the Vatican, It's not like the Vatican, the size of the Vatican. Britain is a huge country. So chunks of the planet, the size of Britain, are disappearing every year. And rainforests or forests or jungles only account for, like, I think 6%. 6% of the terraplan, and they are like pretty much the lungs of the earth, where I think it's something like, so 6% of the earth is covered by it, but like 80% of our oxygen comes from these jungles and these forests, and then we're destroying the sizes of Britain every year. So again, we can sit there and say, oh, or I'm gonna plant myself, I'm gonna make myself a plant when I die in 20-30 years. But in that 20-30 years worth of time, so much is getting destroyed. So what exactly are you fixing? You know what I'm saying? So we can't just sit there and continue to put band-aids over the problem, where we have to fix the problem. We can't sit there and continue to put butter on the burn when that's not going to fix the problem. That's why I always say we need to start growing trees in the desert. What we need to do is stop cutting the mother lovers down. Stop cutting the trees down. Like, honestly, what in 2018, what do we need lumber for that we cannot use hemp for? Again, and again, we're gonna just throw it into a whole nother conversation, right? Where hemp could be used for cloth, for clothing, for fabric, for concrete, for fuel, for lumber. Sleepy Moors will lose their land along with their family members. In Brazil, they are killing tribes to take the wood out of their forests. Yes. And that's not just Brazil, but that's any melanated area. That's any melanated area. And that's why you have tribes like I forget the tribe in the Pacific, though, in the Indian Ocean, that don't let anybody, no outsiders, come onto their island because they're hip to what happens. You're right, I forgot about the hemp. Exactly. It's 2018. There's so much, and especially with our technology, there's so many alternatives. That why are we still using oil? Why are we still using wood? Why are we still doing that? It's not 5,600 BC. This is 2018. Damn, can I take the tree? The banks be like, what trees? The banks be like, what trees? Exactly. I mean, I think they said by the time that our children are grow up, half of the species that we grew up with will no longer be, will be extinct. And then I seen an article of scientists saying that they could, or they're planning on, or they can bring back some extinct species like the mammoth, like saber-toothed tigers. Like, okay, all 4 animals, but do we really need a saber-toothed tiger to be, reincarnated or whatever you're gonna call that? That they can't do that. Can't do what? Bring back extinct species? Oh, yes, they can. Yes, they can. Especially woolly mammoth will be the easiest one because you have their closest living relatives, like the elephants. All you got to do is artificially inseminate a female elephant with a woolly mammoth, and the way that we got genetics and the way that we can do gene splicing and stuff like that, it's all too easy. They just said they could. Yes, it's all too easy. It's all. What's all over your face? Where did you get that cookie from? And he just looks at me and chomps on it. So yes, but they're gonna try and bring all these extinct species. But what about the species that are going extinct every day? You know what I'm saying? We're so worried about, we can bring back what died in the Ice Age, but what about what's dying right now? How many species in England they can order the baby you like? Yes, I mean they do that here. They do that here. How do you think Beyonce had the baby that she had? How do you think you can and they tell you about this when on these shows when they do the in vitro and stuff like that, you can tailor make your baby down to the skin tone, the hair, the eyes, designer babies. Yes. And that's pretty much we're gonna design babies like bags. We're gonna design them like bags now. Why are you being a little nuisance? Build the baby, yeah. So I've been on here for about 2 hours. It's when he gets all fussy. It's nap time. So like I said, a lot of this conversation can be a whole video, like a whole video on itself. The pollution problem. Using hemp instead of lumber. Those can be topics on their own. But like I said, everything that we kind of learn about in kind of conspiracy culture or anything like that can be tied back together. Everything can always come full circle, and usually it does in these videos. Usually it does. I hear some woods looking. I'm near some woods looking like I hope a jag ain't back there. I don't think jaguars are native to Baltimore or Maryland or North America for that fact. Yeah, no, not North America. But yes, I appreciate y'all coming through and having this conversation with me. It's time for the nugget to get in his nap, and then it's time for me to go eat. So again, if you enjoy the conversation and if you already not subscribed, subscribe and hit the notification button. I appreciate the likes. That's not what I'm looking for. subscribe and hit the notification button. Let your friends know that we be having dope conversations, and get them in on this conversation so we can have some fun here. We've been subscribed. Yeah, I know who be subscribed and who not. But yes, I appreciate all of y'all. Peace and love. I'll see some of y'all over there on Sabir's live stream if he's still live or whatever. But if not, deuces until next time.